What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video. In this video we're going to talk about the Incursion Raid 2 and see what you need to do in order to be successful. We're going to take a look at the characters that you should be using right now in order to beat this raid. As you guys can see, we are easily reaching to 80% at least on my group, and we are going to try to recap which characters you should invest in and think about the long-term plan for this raid. This is the newest raid. They removed the difficulty 3, which was a surprise to me, but I think what that means is that the raid difficulty 3 was not that difficult, and maybe not only are going to get difficulty 3, but you're also going to get difficulty 4 and 5 based on announcements of new progression systems and other things that we saw in the data mine. So we're going to talk about the characters you should be investing in right now in order to be successful, because let's be honest, the milestones and the ranking rewards for the raid season are still very, very important, even that at some point in time, at least for Spider-Man Big Time, the value will lower. But anyway, as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure you share it to your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure you smash that like button like a boss. Okay, so in the very near future, I will have guides for the sections that people are struggling the most, which is right now Bio and Mutant. Skill is also a problem, but it's so rare that for us to do skill, and the skill team is very underleveled for me, so this is something that will be a long-term situation. So in the very near future, maybe today or even tomorrow, we'll have a guide to one-shot all the mutant nodes, and then right after we'll have a guide for the bio nodes where you can also one-shot. And the skill, we'll see, maybe in 1 week or so from now, but the skill right now is not a priority, because you don't even have to complete the raid at 100% in order to move forward. So that's the best part about this raid. Okay, so let's take a look at the characters that I'm using right now to complete these raids and see what kind of investment do you have to do. Do you have to like over-invest on these teams to make like super powerful or anything like that? It's actually not the case. So the first we have is or the Mystic or the Tech, one of them. But with both of these teams, Mystic or Tech, you don't need to have them super maxed out. And for the Mystic specifically, you don't even need to have the Bifrost. You should, it's easy, but if you have still Deadpool with Loki, Sylvie, Val, and one more character, it can be Dormammu or Doctor Doom or Morgan Le Fay or whatever, you can still beat the Mystic nodes with Deadpool, because she is so important and because she gives so much energy to the team. So it's all about having Loki, Sylvie, Deadpool, Val, and one more character. So it's up to you to decide if you want to still use that team or if you want to use the full Bifrost team. The Bifrost team right now doesn't have a lot of value, so I'm gonna keep them at 1 million power. That's more than enough to beat these raids. Even at 900k, 950k, I've seen people doing this, so it's not a big deal. You just have to play on manual. If you want to sim, you have to make sure that your team is around 1.2.5, 1.3, just to make sure that they have enough stats in order to take the damage in the face. My team, as you guys can see, is mostly level 80, and if you play on manual, you're gonna be able to easily one-shot a node. So this is great, because that means you don't have to spend resources on this team. In terms of the Pegasus team, is as equally as powerful. There are a few trap situations that you can get yourself in when you're playing on manual, because there are a lot of characters with a lot of taunts, and that's why I always have a lot of skirmishers, because like this you don't get stuck behind the taunts. I find it super important, because then you want to apply the stun or the blind or the trauma to one character, but here you are stuck behind the trauma, and this is why it's important to have a diversity in terms of the ISO 8, and always have at least 2 skirmishers on your team. In my opinion, the duarktikhq as a raider, it's still going fine. Tony Stark, the Ironheart and Rescue, Those are my favorite skirmishers. And rescue, we really don't need her as a healer, because the enemies never take a turn. Maybe one enemy in 10 takes a turn every now and then, but beyond that, it's not a big deal. So this is another team that you don't have to invest a lot. If you want to invest in some characters, of course, Castle is going to be the priority, and then Iron Man, and then Ironheart. Rescue, if your rescue is not big enough, you could also gear her up a little bit more just to make sure that she doesn't dies, but it's not a priority. The team at 1.1 million was doing fine on the raids on the difficulty 2. Beyond that, we have to wait and see if Scopely is going to increase the difficulty of that raid or not. Okay, now we're going to talk about the problematic teams: Dead Seed, Rebirth, and Invader. So, as we expected, we are going to get new raid teams to replace these ones, and it seems like the Mutant team is coming sooner than later. I have heard some rumors that Cyclops is going to be part of the new team, so I honestly don't know which team are we getting. So maybe X-Men Red, or X-Men Blue, or X-Men Yellow, or X-Force, or X-Factor. I mean, Cyclops has been in all those teams, but we also have those rumors with Nightcrawler, with X-Force, so who really knows what's gonna happen. Now, in terms of Dead Seed, this is the team that works right now, 1.9 million, which is absolutely ridiculous. You can have them slightly smaller, but I'm gonna be honest, the levels of RNG on this team it's very difficult to manage, and you need a big boy Apocalypse. I don't think there is. You could use the small Apocalypse, but it's too risky with the small Apocalypse. It should be the big Apocalypse. And then in a few nodes, you have to use Magneto. In other nodes, you have to use Psylocke. And you have to attack the enemies on a very specific way. You really need to understand what you are doing in order to be able to one-shot those nodes. But it's possible. Like on the last 3 days, I have one-shotted back-to-back each of the nodes. Not a big deal. And we have Nemesis. I think Nemesis is going to be extremely important because of his passive. Some people actually don't know that Nemesis gives himself speed bar when allies drop below 50% health. So this means that you want to make sure that Magneto, Psylocke, and maybe Archangel, they are the ones in the middle getting the most damage. So then your Nemesis can get additional speed bar and do his special and his ultimate. But this is something, like I said, I'm gonna break down in the guide that will be coming up soon. But yeah, for now, this is what you have to use in order to be successful. If you want to one-shot, make sure you have Big Boy Apocalypse, make sure you have Dead Seed level 95, and then you have to be very careful with the position of the characters, with the way you attack, and so on. Now, Rebirth. Bad news for Rebirth and people without Super Scroll. Without Super Scroll, the bio nodes are very, very difficult. I've been able to one-shot all of them with the team that you see right now on the screen. So level 95 across the board, and of course with the big boy Super Scroll. If you don't have Super Scroll, like I said, it's gonna be very difficult. I might try next week to figure out a way to use Agent Venom, but for now this is what works, and it works in a very specific way. Once again, the enemies are put in a way that they really destroy your team, and the enemies are very, very overtuned. For example, the Black Cat on the boss node, she can one-shot some of your characters if you are unlucky, if she crits. So it's definitely something that you need to be very careful. And if you don't play the right way, that very specific way, we are not probably going to complete it. So if you want to be successful on the Incursion raid right now on difficulty 2 and hopefully difficulty 3, you have to take your Rebirth all the way to level 95. But I would not put like Gear T 17 or 18 on them. Just do the bare minimum. On Captain Carter and on Captain America it's fine, but on US Agent and on Winter Soldier, definitely not. In terms of Agent Venom, like I said, we will see in the very near future. And then we have the final team, the Invaders. So the Invaders right now, for me, I only had like 2 days of attempts, maybe 2 days, yeah, 2 days of attempts out of the 6 that we had so far. And my team is not big enough, so the invaders is going to be another team that you need to have them at level 95, otherwise it's not gonna work. Now, with this in mind, which is the time frame of the next teams being released? So the Mutant team, like I said, it might be next patch. It's very common, it happened multiple times in the past, that whenever you get a Mutant team, it's during the winter. We got it with Astonishing X-Men, we got it with the Dead Seed, so it's very likely that we are going to get a new Mutant team within the next 2 months. So, should you level up these characters to level 95 or something like that? Only if you are going to use them in Cosmic Crucible and in Alliance Wars. If that's not the case, then I would not recommend investing on the Dead Sea team. In terms of the rebirth, the time frame for the new BioRay team is late March, April. It's gonna be the new Symbiote team. Some of the envoys already broke the NDA and already said that the Symbiote team is coming and it's gonna be a Ray team. So this is what we are going to use. So for the next 4 months or 5, should you invest on this team? Right now they are very powerful in war, but in Cosmic Crucible, for example, they have no value. In the Dark Dimension they are okay, not the best, not the worst. So be very careful with your investment on this team as well. And finally we have the Invaders team. The Invaders team is going to be the last team to be replaced, in my opinion. It will not make sense for them to release the skill team before they give you a bio solution, unless they want you to burn a lot of power cores, which is possible, but unlikely. So the time frame for the skill team is going to be like, I don't know, May or June or July of next year. So is it gonna be worth it to invest on these characters? Well, maybe it's not worth it for you. Maybe it's gonna be worth it for your alliance, and this is something that you have to decide as a group. Is it that important to get the raid season rewards? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, definitely yes, then you have to invest on them. Training materials and gold at least. I would not invest gear. Get all these characters to gear to level 95, and then you decide if you are going to invest gear on them or not, because like I said, all these teams are going to be replaced within the next 6 months or 8 months. And right now the Invaders team is the worst of them because they have literally no value in other game modes. Or then you could do the other thing, which is skip entirely the skill section, or make all the players of your group of alliance to just go through one lane and complete the raids like that without going to the other raids. It's up to you to decide, is it worth investment or not? Decide with your alliance. But that's what we have for the Incursion raids right now. What you should build for now and for the future if you want to stay up to par with the current rate. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Once again, make sure that you check out the guides that we'll have for the Mutant lane and for the Bio lane, which will be coming very, very soon, in case you want to one-shot the nodes. And that's it for now, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button, and if you found information helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Mouse Like Force content, and I'll catch you guys later.